hoi, Rinda here. In about a week's time, I'm heading off to Slovenia to hike the Juliana Trail, and I'm so excited. I've never really done an introduction video before, but the whole goal of my channel is to encourage people to hike, so this is my first go at getting people as excited for a trail as I am. The Juliana Trail is a 330-kilometer trail consisting of a 270-kilometer loop around the Julian Alps and a 60-kilometer extension into the Brda wine region. And I'm going to use that as an approach trail. The trail was invented to lessen the pressure on the Triglav mountain region somewhat, because that's a very, very popular area. The reason I chose this trail for my next through hike is because I'm still a bit recovering from sporting injuries that have been bothering me since last September. I'm still not 100% healthy, I'm about 80-90% there. And this trail is said to be fairly easy with some forest roads, actual roads, and not too much elevation. I think the highest peak is about 1,000 meters. Also, there's no wild camping in Triglav National Park. So I'll be going from hotel to hostel and carrying a very light backpack. And it will also give me an idea of where I stand with regards to hiking the Aurora, which is still on my wish list. I was going to go last year, September, and I had to cancel. And this year is still a bit iffy, but if I'm really thinking about it, it probably won't happen this year, and I'm going to have to postpone for another year. But we'll see what happens in Slovenia. Maybe I'll feel just fine and I won't have any issues, but I'm not betting on it. For planning this hike, I used the Cicerone guidebook by Rudolf Abraham, and Cicerone is really my favorite trekking guide publisher. Their guides are always very comprehensive and have all the information you need for planning and trekking a hike. It describes the main loop in a counterclockwise direction, and that's the direction I'm also going to follow because it's simply easier. Although according to the author, the trail is excellently signposted. It describes the extension in the direction from Tolmin to Soča, but I'm hiking it in the opposite direction as an approach trail. And I think I have the advantage because the elevation is in my advantage this way. There are several steep mountains, and hiking from Soča to Tolmin, you have the descent rather than the ascent. So the time splits in the guidebook I'm not sure how accurate they are because I'm hiking in the opposite direction, but we'll see, of course. You can also get the GPS track once you've bought the guidebook from the Cicerone website, and that comes in very handy, I think. There's also a separate guidebook which you can buy in the tourist information offices in Slovenia, where you can collect about 24 stamps, I think, along the way. And if that's your thing, and I think I'm just going to do that for the fun of it. And if you completed all the stamps, then you can send it into Bovik, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, where you can get a diploma and a prize. The hardest part of planning this hike was actually the approach trail, because two of the stages there end at mountain huts rather than in a village. And it turns out those mountain huts are managed by hiking clubs or mountaineering clubs and are only open in the weekends, which makes through hiking the approach trail very, very difficult. I did give feedback to Cicerone and heard back from the author the very next day. And side note, how cool is that? You run into a problem, you give feedback to the publisher, and the actual freaking author contacts you the very next day with tips and advice. So that was very cool. And what he suggested was to plan these stages as day hikes and stay in the villages nearby and use shuttles. And that is what I did. I booked an extra day in Šmartno and an extra day in Tolmin and arranged for shuttles to and from the mountain huts. It was quite expensive, all in all about 300 euros, But even though I'm Dutch, when it comes to hiking, I'm not exactly frugal. I just want to through hike this trail, and whatever it takes, I'll get it done. The author actually suggested contacting the booking office for the Juliana Trail. And I did that initially, but they only arrange shuttles in combination with accommodation. And accommodation I can quite easily arrange myself. So I'm not sure if it would have been as expensive using the Juliana booking office, but because I'm already leaving next week, I was in a bit of a time crunch and didn't have the time to explore many options. Fortunately, the booking office did email me a website with transportation companies in the area, and I emailed a few, heard back from one, and that is the one I'm going with. So even though it's quite pricey, I'm happy that I'm able to hike the extension and what I'm calling the approach trail, and that I don't have to compromise my hike. As far as getting to the trail, Slovenia is in Europe, of course, so ideally I take the train, and I really did look into it, but it would take me about 24 hours and through Germany. And with the German trains as they are, with all the delays and cancellations recently, I thought I'd better not risk it. So instead, I'm flying out to Ljubljana and taking the train from there. Especially the eastern side of the trail is easily accessible by train. Almost all the villages on the eastern side have a train station, so you have a pick of places where you can start your loop. I am, of course, doing the CO2 compensations because flying is very unhealthy for nature, and nature is close to my heart. So I will be making a donation to some forest somewhere. I haven't done so yet, but I will be doing it today. Now, as I said earlier, wild camping is illegal, and there actually no camping at all in Triglav National Park. So I will be staying in hostels, hotels, and the occasional apartment. On the main loop, the stages start and end in villages, and the villages have a wide range in accommodation suitable for different budgets, although it can be cheaper to stay a bit further from trail. I think on one occasion I'm staying about 7 kilometers off the trail, but mostly I prefer to stay as close to the trail as possible, so I will be paying a bit more on occasion. The most expensive is the Hotel Pokljuka. If I pronounce it correctly, my apologies to all Slovenians watching. That's a hotel, I think, lonely on a mountaintop, so there's really no other options to stay anywhere else. I did pay 12 euros extra for a sauna, so I think it's well worth splurging on. If you're interested, I can do a breakdown of all the costs. I have a spreadsheet with all the accommodation and the prices that I paid. So if you're interested, I can share that. But I think I paid about 1,000 euros all in all for the accommodations, and that's not too bad considering I'm staying almost 3 weeks. Apart from nature and beautiful landscapes, I'm also very interested in history, and I think this trail has a lesson to teach me that I as a Dutchman don't often get to learn about. Because the Netherlands, of course, was neutral during the First World War, and that means there are no remnants or memorials in the whole of the country. For the Second World War, of course, there are plenty. Every town and village has its own memorials, and war cemeteries are also plentiful. But for the First World War, there's really nothing. And it turns out that Slovenia was quite a battleground during the First World War between the Italians and the Austro-Hungarian army. I think they fought over a dozen battles in the Soča Valley, and there were about 1.7 million casualties, which is even more than Ypres in Belgium. And I visited Ypres several times already, and it was quite moving and impressive. So I'm eager to learn what Slovenia has to teach me in that regard. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. Let me know if you miss anything, or if you had wanted to know more about a certain subject, or if I could have done a better job. So I'll be sure to adjust that in future videos. I will be doing a daily vlog again. I'm not sure yet if I will be uploading them immediately or afterwards, but you'll find that out in due course. Anyway, I think I'm going to enjoy myself. and see you on the trail.